Good morning, Dragon Drive addicts. Listen, y'all, I worked until about 2 o'clock last night trying to get this video up and done for you guys, but it didn't work out. So I have a really fun video for next week that we're going to do. So we're going to run through some stats today. We're going to talk about, I actually had my brother in the podcast room here the other day. So he told 2 or 3 stories. So I've recorded them and obviously cut them down for you guys. So that's exciting. And then we have which transmission is best for drag and drive, or I'm not going to say best, but most chosen from our Facebook group. There was a comment made over there. And then obviously the built for drag and drive segment on from Sweet Patina. So let's get right into it, guys. I want to say good morning. I'm going to be sharing some photos and stuff like that from the sharing my screen and things like that. So let's get down here to work. Here we go. I want to start off by talking about the naming conventions that you use on these events. Luckily, we have some really good friends, the Kurczaks, Nick and Jeff. I'll give you the whole long drawn out story here really short. Jeff registered for Sick Week. Nick raced the car. Okay. When I look at the data from Sick Week, Jeff's name was populated. So Jeff held the 13004 number one spot on the top 2513 second racer list until drag week when Jeff ran a 140,395. I know that's slower, but here's why this is important. Nick actually ran a 1205 and ended up on the 12 second top 25 list. Well, technically, Jeff should have been on the 14 second list, but because of the way they registered for Sick Week, which is fine, the way they registered for Sick Week, Jeff was actually on the 13 second list. So thank you to Jeff for reaching out, letting me know. So here's what I want to say. If you are registering for an event, please use the racer name, because that's what we track is the racer data. Please use the racer name for registration. It will make things much easier at the end of the year, because that really could have been a situation where I would have given a 13, number one 13 second spot in the future trophy or something like that to Jeff, and he would have been like, oh man, I actually didn't race it, that was Nick. And I'm like, well, Nick actually got a 12 second trophy because he was on the top 25. So try and think of that as you move forward, mainly just so we can keep the most correct historical data as possible. I know that sometimes that becomes difficult, and we are very, very, very early in the process of people doing that. Okay. So not a lot of people not a lot of folks are paying attention to this right now yet, but I will tell you, with the conversations we had this last week with a freelance journalist that is writing an article for a major publication, things are happening in the drag and drive community. Big things are happening. There's going to be a lot more eyes on it by the end of 2023 as compared to what has been in the past. Some of the things we did talk about, and I'll just kind of sideline here. Some of the things we did talk about was the quantity of events and the placement of events within this article. So I think with what we could provide, I think there will be a lot of insight that will come to sponsors. It'll come to other race promoters that maybe have never thought about a drag and drive event, but enjoy like a true street, or some folks that do a lot of true street racing will see these kind of events and enjoy them. And regional stuff, I think, is going to absolutely explode, just because it's easier for people to get involved in. It's easier to take a Friday off. It's easier to not have to worry about taking a whole week of your vacation. So I think we're going to see a huge jump in regional events. Plus, we know the events are going to spread out across the country. Midwest Drags is going to be on the East Coast now. We've got Death Week that is going to the Death Valley area of the country. So we're seeing an expansion. We're seeing not just the Midwest, not just the South get events. We're seeing everything go everywhere. And with regional stuff, you're looking for one, maybe two tracks that are around each other are willing to host 50 to 200 cars. I think we're going to see a big explosion this next year once people start figuring out, hey, this is how we do it. This is how it gets there. So anyways, let's jump into it right here. I want to talk about, actually, let's do comments while I get all the other stuff pulled up. Looks like Brandon Parker's in here. Good morning, sir. It's good to see you at MoCan the other day. And then we got Tugla 442. Tugla? I don't know. Good morning. And then Ronnie 7. Yep. Coder in 3 weeks. We are going to talk about some King of the Open Road event or updates here in just a few minutes as well. So I'm excited for what 2023 holds for Jared and the team for King of the Open Road. All right. Let me get my stuff opened up here. Almost there. Sorry. Again, I had all of this on a really nice video. I just could not finish getting it edited down for you guys. So let's do some screen share here. Obviously, I want to thank our friends at Sweet Patina, the TKO creators of the TKO hand cleaning wipes, for sponsoring the Built for Drag and Drive segment, which is what we're going to talk about right now. These guys, I'm telling you, I love them. Blake and the entire Sweet Patina family is right up our alley. They are car guys. They drive all of their cars. You can see all the products they have, everything they have, all the events they attend, everything like that is built to drive your car. Everything they make, everything, t-shirts, everything, signs, all that kind of stuff is all made for you by them. They want to, well, they're not, I don't think they make this, but you know what I mean? They think about what we want as racers, what we want as car guys and things like that. And I know I just showed a few different products, but their website, sweetpatina.com, actually has a ton of stuff, lots and lots and lots of stuff. So, all right. Let's jump into some notes here. Here we go. Quick reminder, use the code DND57 for a discount at checkout. I'm putting this here, DND57 for discount on sweetpatina.com. All righty. Guy Wells posted on the Drag and Drive Addiction Facebook group. If you're not a member over there, please go over and join. Asking the transmission of choice and if people run a GearVendor. I don't know what he's putting together, but he's trying to get something together to make an event in 2023. We had more than 100 replies. It was crazy. And here's how those replies break down. So in the comments, while I read through these, because I can't see the comments, go ahead and tell me what transmission you run in your car. So the clear choice, obviously Turbo 400. That's probably the most widely used transmission in all of drag racing. So Turbo 400 had 25 of the choices. I mean, that's pretty, or 25 of the replies. That's pretty wild. 25% of people choose to run a 400. And then right behind that at 15 was a 4L80, which is what we run in the old truck. That doesn't surprise me with the 80, just because it kind of creates the 400 and GearVendor option. I do want to talk to a few trans builders, and we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. Is it better to run, like, cost effectiveness, let's say, would it be better to run a 400 and a GearVendor, or is it better to build an 80 to hold, let's say 1,000, 1,500? I don't know. Behind the 4L80 is a Powerglide at 14 choices, people, or 14 replies. Then you've got like a 4L60 at 6, a 727, which actually was on there quite a bit at 4 times. Turbo 350 was on 3 times. C6, 200 R4, and a 4R70 only had 2 comments on there, which kind of surprised me. And out of 100 replies, only 12 people were using a GearVendor, which surprised me. I really figured with the Turbo 400 being 25 replies, I guess that's about half of what the 400 would be. So that's probably right. I know 2 of the replies had a 727 and GearVendors, which again, that's a great transmission. It's just really long. And so there was a picture of one within the post that had the 727 and the GearVendors. Man, that thing looked like, I don't know, it was insanely long. So that's pretty interesting. I would like to see the length of transmission in like a Dart or Duster or something like that coming out of the back of the GearVendor in a stock height car, like what is the, what's the angle and pitch on the trans there. So anyways, or on the drive shaft. So pretty interesting there. Let me stop sharing my screen here. All right. Yep. Build the 80 to hold is what one Facebook user says here. So I thought that was a great post by Guy Wells. I appreciate him putting that up. That's what Facebook groups are for. It's not necessarily just about talking about events. Talk about your build, talk about why you're building it, have questions, make sure you're posting over there and stuff like that. Oh man, hey, it's Rovik. What's up, dude? It's exciting to have you in here this morning. If you guys don't know, I'm a big fan of his. I don't know if he's a big fan of ours, but I'm a big fan of his because he put 30,000 miles on vehicles in 2022 to attend and compete in drag and drive events. That is insanity. Earlier in the year, we talked about Steve Willingham putting 14,000 miles on in 2021, attending events. Guys, 30,000, that's wild. If you didn't know, Rovik lives over in the Yukon. Super cool. And the Olds obviously lifts the wheel. That's really cool. And it's a big car. So anyways, like that dude, thank you. Appreciate the comments. All right, let's jump into it. So I want to, again, I had Steven in the podcast room. We didn't do an interview style. I just actually had him tell stories, and then I edited that down some. So I'm going to pull it from our YouTube channel. I don't know how this is going to work out. If the audio is bad, please tell me in the comments, and we'll take it down. And that video will go live after this episode ends on the channel. So if you want to watch it in real time or whatever. So my brother, he built a 70 MG Midget. We call it Project Adam Ant, 500 horsepower-ish, should be 500 horsepower, 2.3 liter Lima Ford out of like an 80s SVO Mustang. Car was 2,150 pounds with him in it. He did struggle all week with fueling, and he'll explain some of that in the video. And then for 2021, 2022 was a redemption for him. He made about 100 miles into the trip for a race week, and then we had to, the steering broke, he had to pull over, had to change cars. It was a whole big deal. All the videos are over on Narcoleptic Customs. For 2022, he put almost 2,000 miles on the car leading up to race week. I think he drove it almost every day, even in the rain, just to make sure it was ready to go. Here's a few stories from his week. And then if you want to see the build or any of the other stuff we've done on Narcoleptic Customs, which is our personal build channel, you can go find it on all social medias. I've got it everywhere. So let's jump in here. Let me share my screen again. We'll see if this works, guys. You'll have this is something I still haven't figured out. Let me get this stopped and I'll get it. See if we've got some. Oh, what's going on there? All right, that's what I'm looking at. All right, sorry about that. Unfortunately, I couldn't load it to the thing, so it looks like we don't have any audio on the video for some stupid reason. I don't know. So after this video, you can go over to dragandrive.com on YouTube and find it. I'll actually put the link the video here in the comments. Sorry about that, guys. This is why I like to have all of this stuff done beforehand, but I have been so busy at work this week. It's been absolutely insanity. So, anyways, there is the link. Do want to say good morning to everybody that has been popping in. Ronnie Stephan here says, been running a 4L80 for 4 Dragon drives and almost 5,000 pounds. Running 10s. That truck, we did an interview earlier in the year with him when we were at Race Week and posted it up. Built engine and trans, about 15,000 miles now. So that's pretty awesome. 15,000 miles is a bunch on a race car. To not have, you start thinking about 5,000 miles. You think, oh, I'm going to drive this thing all the time. But 5,000 miles a year in a race car is a bunch. So it's pretty exciting. All right, let's jump in here. Let me close this screen, get back to my notes, because unfortunately we had to miss that video. Let's switch it up and talk about some list updates. If you didn't know, I run all of the historical data for Rocky Mountain Race Week. I have it on a RMRWers stats on our website, dragandrive.com, that you can see all of the top, you can see the fastest 100 averages of any Rocky Mountain Race Week racer, top 25, 10 through 14 second list, all that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that's coming. We just had to get through these events so I can get some time to actually sit and work with them. So here are the all-time stats lists, count of 2022 racers to populate those lists. Okay. For now, I've said it all year long that 2022 is the fastest year on drag and drive history. It's been absolutely insane. And that holds true for Rocky Mountain Race Week events as well. So the top 100, there were 36 racers from 2022. So more than a third of the top 100 fastest racers in Rocky Mountain Race Week history are from 2022. Again, we are focused on one racer, if you've competed 5 times, we're only using your fastest event. 11 of those 36 are from Rocky Mountain Race Week and 25 are from Race Week. We have top 25 10-second list. There are 10 racers on that. So again, more than 30%. I think that's 40%. 4 of them from Rocky Mountain Race Week and 6 from Race Week itself. Ted Miko is the new number 1 on that list. We've got the top 25 11-second racers. There are 10 people from there. 4 again from Rocky Mountain and 6 from Race Week. We have the top 25 12-second list. There are 10. There's too many numbers here. There's too many numbers. Top 25 12-second racer list. There are 10 racers on that list as well. So 40% from 2022, 5 from Rocky Mountain and 5 from Race Week. The top 25 13 seconds. There are 8. We have 2 from Rocky Mountain and 2 from Race Week. And then the top 25 14-second racers. There are 7 of you guys, 2 from Rocky Mountain and 5 from Race Week. Now you can go on to dragandrive.com and look at the Rocky Mountain Race Week stats to see all of the number 1 places and all of the bump spots. Number 25. Rowdy Radial had a huge swing. There are 9 new racers on the top 50 list there, 5 Rocky Mountain and 4 Race Week spots. And then we have the fastest 100 of all time is now Matt Moore with his 2022 Rocky Mountain finish with a 9.4775. And then the Rowdy Radial new bump spot is Luke Brunko with a 6.741 from his 2020 Rocky Mountain event. So I've got the link in the description down below. That would take you right to the Rocky Mountain stats. But I will put it here in the chat as well. Yeah, so I see Mad Cow Mark here. Anyone else getting audio distortion in your speakers? Let me know if you are getting some stuff. The mic and stuff has been hating me the last few times. All right, so again, I'll do all of that as well for Hot Rod Drag Week from the Billy Gebhardt Memorial lists we have from Drag Week. So it's pretty awesome. Drag Week is a whole different animal because there's so many different classes. And so I'm working through all of those classes. I want to get all of them done before I post any, or before I come on here and talk about them. Okay, let's move over to event updates. Carolina Drag Cruise Finals. I know that event ended a few weeks ago, but I just did not have time to get to it. Class winners and spots on the top 50 eighth mile list. Okay, here is how this is going to shake out. I'm going to actually put the link in the comments here in the chat. This is your top 50 eighth mile racers. So your limited power adder and overall winner, Graham Hayes, ended with a 6.056 average for the number 19 spot on the top 50. Modern muscle power adder, David Thomas, 6.576, number 38 on the top 50. You got stick shift power adder, Caleb Galloway is a 7.779. And then True Street NA, Tim Loy winner, 7.385. True Street power adder, you've got Karen Thomas at a 7.466. Unlimited NA, Larry West at 6.467, number 34 on the top 50 list. And then unlimited power adder, Scott Green, 8.137. Now, I know Michael has a big event planned for early next year. So if you haven't been following very long, if you're new to Drag and Drive, Carolina Drag Cruise did a spring and a fall event. He is canceling the fall event and going solely to the spring event. We don't have dates on it yet. I know he is discussing with tracks to talk about what dates they can do, what tracks they're going to use, things like that. He is limiting the cars to 200, and it looks like, based on the Carolina stuff, there's going to be a ton of fast cars that are going to come out. And spring, to me, is a better time. Let's get this event season kicked off. People's cars aren't wore out from the year. I will say, speaking of the Carolinas, Southeast Street Meet is in 3 weeks. It's the same weekend as King of the Open Road. And I saw a time slip from Devin the other day, like 4:30 or something like that in the 8th. So the Southeast Street Meet has a really good opportunity to completely decimate the top 50 eighth mile racer list. But you guys know what I say all the time. You've got to make the trip. You've got to finish the week. You've got to finish the weekend, whatever. So they start on November 10th and run through the 13th. And then King of the Open Road is a quarter-mile event with an elimination-style shootout at the end at Oklahoma City, which will actually be the last, from what I understand, it will be the last event of the year and the last event for Nick Duty and the team of management there at Thunder Valley Raceway Park. So it's the end of an era. Nick has been there 10 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens after that. I know there's a lot of stuff that's floating around on the internet on what their plan is, what the track is going to do, but apparently they are being very quiet about anything. So we'll see what happens there. It will be nice. I'm trying to work out how I can get over there for the eliminations day. It's just about 4.5 hours from my house. So I'll have to get up super early in the morning and drive over, because I can't stay the night before because my wife is going to a concert. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I may not even be able to be at the last Drag and Drive event of the year, which would be very, very strange. I'm beginning to miss you guys. There's, Drag Week was the last one I was on, and that's been a month, and I got to see my race car friends. So let's talk about Summit Midwest Drags. Oh, man. Saying the mic is going nuts. Hang on a second. Let me unplug it. We'll play it. Let's see. Tell me if that helped. I think maybe it was the plug-in on the side. So we'll give it just a second. Man, that's why I like to record this stuff ahead of time. That's why I like to record this stuff ahead of time, because I can work through that stuff. I would have recorded all of that and then went in and been like, oh, crap. Okay, perfect. Here we go. I see Rich Woodward in here. Good morning. Thank you, Brandon, for letting me know on the mic. I appreciate that a bunch. Yeah, Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you very much for letting me know. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Midwest drags. Let me get my screen share back up here because I want to go through some. We talked about this. Hold on. Eventually, I'll get to where I can do this better. All right. Here we go. Pre-registration for racers is live. If you are a previous race member or previous Summit Racing Midwest Drags racer, and you have that blue tag on your window, so you're racing the car you've raced before, skip the line, go to midwestdrags.com/VIR. That will get you in early. Early registration is running through October 31st. So November 1st will be public registration. I will say this, if you are a first time participant in Midwest Drags, go ahead and submit now. Maybe they can lay that stuff back. I don't really know. I don't know the plan there, but I would say get your name on the list with the tracks and things like that. It's going to be a great year. All right, flip through. Here we go. July 10th and 11th, they're going to be at Virginia Motorsports Park, which is the site of the record running 5998 by Tom Bailey. So it's exciting to return there. Going back to ATCO going to ATCO on July 12th, and then Cecil on the 13th, and then back to Virginia Motorsports Park on the 14th. Again, a lot of stuff happening with this event. I'm telling you, there's going to be some really fast and fun stuff. I do know there are several guys like Brian Acton that are going to come. And so I want to talk to Dustin and Steve Trance, see if we can actually get the fastest 2 850 cars or the closest 850 cars at the same event to duke it out, kind of like they did at Drag Week. So if you don't know, the 850 class is probably my favorite. I talk about it all the time. But Steve and Dustin Trance built a Mustang for it, Turbo LS, finished the year with an 8.514, and then Brian Acton and Jay Blanchard right behind them with a 8.516. So we got to get those guys again at the same event because those two averages were run at two different events. So maybe we can have like a all out duke out. Who knows? I don't know. But again, registration opens. So, well, no, I was talking about there. I brought this up because cash payouts are back and they are opening classes up to the 1299 ET, which beforehand they had only opened to 10.5. It's the only event that limits your ET. So the event promoters wanted fast cars. They've always gone to 10.5 because you could not just go buy a 10.5 street car. They've opened it up because what they've seen is the migration for folks coming in running 12s, and then the next year running 11s, and then the next year running 10s, which is what we all do with all of our cars. That's exactly what happens. We come to an event, we compete. Maybe we're not the fastest in our class. Then we go back home and we call up the companies, hopefully Summit Racing, and get more parts coming and build new stuff and all that kind of thing. So, okay, let's stop sharing here. Stop sharing the screen. Get back over here. All right, I see Brent Stevens in here. Oh, man, hey, Rich Woodward said he is registered yesterday. And again, Mickey Thompson Tires is covering the entry fee for 2022 class winners if you won on a set of Mickey Thompson tires. Oh, man, I hear race cars. My neighbor has his big block Mopar fired up, so he must be going racing today. It's going to be a great day for it here in Northwest Arkansas. The weather's a little bit cooler. I do know it. Let's talk about a couple more things for Midwest Drags. So they open the ET window. They are splitting the Street Machine Eliminator classes into a 10.0, 11.0, and 12, or well, a 10, 11, and 12 second ET class. So I don't know how that will work with, if they're going to do like an index style, 12.0, or if they're going to run everybody at the same time. I also don't know how that will work at the end with the bracket setup. We talked about pre-registration is open through next Sunday for previous racers. And again, all you folks that are maybe you're planning for Midwest Drags for next year, go ahead and put your name in there. And then summitmidwestdrags.com is the website. I'll put that in the chat now. All right. And then Rocky Mountain Race Week announced their dates June 24th through 30th. They are going to hold registration for previous or for 2022 event participants on January 13th, and then open to the public on the 14th. This hasn't been set in stone. I haven't seen this anywhere other than posts and comments within the Rocky Mountain Racewalkers page. It looks like the tracks are Bandimere, Kearney, Pueblo, and Great Bend again. Those places they take really good care of the Rocky Mountain Race Week crew. Now, I do want to say it looks like, and based on the posts, again, this is all speculation on my side, that Race Week will also be at those same tracks. So they will have an event change, an event area change, going from the Oklahoma, Texas situation to Colorado and Nebraska. And this is just 100% my opinion. I think it's probably because the Oklahoma City new owners are being very bad about contacting event promoters and things like that. I've heard that it's just complete silence, but that could also be because they do not take possession until January 1st. So technically, they can't do anything until they have possession of the track and are actual owners. So it'll be interesting to see what the next few weeks brings, next few months. What are we going to do after King of the Open Road? And that ends the season for them. Will we start to see some things pop out? Anyways, it does look like tracks for Race Week, which is Rocky Mountain 2.0, are going to follow along Bandimere, Kearney, Pueblo, and Great Bend. And again, sorry, I'll recap here. June 24th through 30th for Rocky Mountain Race Week. The September event has not been posted yet. All right, let's talk about King of the Open Road because it's coming up in 3 weeks, like somebody said earlier. Appreciate that. That event's going to be wild. Absolutely wild. If you haven't seen, you've got to go over to Cruisin' Oklahoma to their Facebook page. Y'all, it's nuts. There's 200 heavy hitter cars that are coming to that event. We've got a lot of the Race Week family that will do that event. Racers like Felicia Smith, Jerome Courtney, all those folks are going to be there. Jared said in the live stream a couple weeks ago that Matt Frost and Tina Pierce are both going to be at the event. Matt racing Hulk, which is going to be awesome to watch. So I've got to make sure I get there somehow, but it'll be great for Matt to be able to get out, stretch that car's legs, enjoy a drag and drive event without having to host it. So that'll be a big plus. So I'm excited for King of the Open Road if I can make it. If I can't, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do for timing, because typically we would want to get Friday night's timing and then Sunday's timing to see, so we can, because in our opinion, a drag and drive is, race Friday night or Saturday for qualifying, and then another day you race again to get your ET average. So we'll see how that works out. I really don't know. We may only do racers that compete or that make passes on Friday night and Sunday between the drives. So I don't know. We're gonna figure something out. It's going to be interesting. Events like that, I think, are going to. Again, I'm going to ramble here for a second, but I think events like that are harder for us drag and drive folks, mainly because of the shootout at the end. Because you're actually laying your car on the line, where a lot of times we're trying to, we're not making a safe pass, but we're making a fast pass that is also going to get us on the road and get us to the next track. So if you come and race Friday and make a pass, but if you don't make a pass Friday and you show up and do the drive, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it and see how we want to do it. Anyways, 2023 is going to be absolutely crazy with events like this. I think we're going to see a lot of true street style events, increase in mileage. So instead of like a 50-mile cruise, maybe they'll do a 100-mile cruise and race Friday night, make your drive, race again on Saturday, and end up with and end up being almost right on the bubble of a drag and drive event. I think that's where we can see the biggest growth, because a lot of those promoters already have those events and those cars and those people. And so we can see it from there. Let's jump back over to the comments. All right, guys, I want to say thank you very much. I've gone over a few minutes here. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programming next weekend. I'm recording stuff actually later today that was not in this. And then I'll tell you, for everybody that is still here, thank you very much. Ryan Hargett is going to be on. We're actually recording a segment tomorrow night. It's going to blow your mind with some of the stuff that he's done with that Ford Mustang. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much. If you haven't done it yet, please follow us here, wherever you're watching this. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. And then also, guys, show your support for our sponsors. Sweet Patina, thank you very much for signing up. They are signed up for the 2023 season as well for the Built for Drag and Drive segment. So if you're not doing it, please follow them as well. All right, guys, thank you very much. We will see you throughout the week with posts. If anything crazy happens, I'll jump on live. If not, I'll see you next Saturday morning.